Hello everyone and welcome to the movie clip demonstration here. What we're going to be doing here, and it will likely sort of take two video clips here, is working with the one of the more complex symbols in Flash. This is going to be a movie clip. Before we head into the sort of step-by-step of this, I want to differentiate the movie clip from the other type of symbol that we've dealt with thus far, which is the graphic. If you remember correctly, we sort of would insert a new symbol, and create the graphic, something like the green ball. And that was just sort of a simple graphic over here in the library. I make those things quite simple because I want to differentiate and sort of get in your mind the difference between that graphic and the movie clip. That doesn't mean that a graphic can't be detailed and have far more detail than a green ball, but getting into sort of making animations, you might want to think about this idea of the movie clip. The way I like to think of the movie clip has to do with this bird.jpg image that we're going to sort of import here in a second. This is sort of 3 steps of a bird flying. We're going to be making it, this is just a JPEG, a static image. We're going to be using this to sort of animate our own bird. And we're going to use this simple drawing here to sort of get there. Let's head into, and I'm going to actually delete this. I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's head into the step-by-step of this, and I'll sort of stop here and there as I usually do and sort of explain what I mean. So we're going to skip ahead to step 4. We already have Flash open. We're going to import to library. I have the bird.jpg image just on my desktop, so I'm going to open that. And what this bird.jpg is going to do is serve as sort of the basis from which we make a couple things. You'll see that as we head into step 6 and 7, we're actually making a graphic. I'll sort of explain why we're doing that here. So I'm going to insert a new symbol, and it says name this bird graphic. I'm naming this bird graphic because I want to make sure when I look over in the library that I understand which symbol or which version of this bird I'm dealing with, because we're going to have several versions of it. So I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to keep that a graphic. Okay. Next it says make sure you're on bird graphic. I'm going to double click there. I can see sort of I have a blank canvas here, or a blank area. And it says with the black selection tool or the black arrow, click on the bird JPEG, or click and hold the bird JPEG in the library and dropping it into bird graphic. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop it down into it. Okay. Now you'll see this is just this kind of standalone file. Okay, we really can't sort of get in and separate this thing out or do anything to it yet. Okay. Now it says with the selection tool, click on the bird JPEG so the blue bounding box appears. That's this blue box that sort of indicates it's kind of a standalone thing. It's not, a separate item yet. And then it says choose modify bitmap, trace bitmap. What this is doing, get this open. What this is sort of saying and doing is it's saying take this, and if you remember from one of the first lectures I did, take this raster-based thing, which a raster-based thing is a pixel-based thing, so it's a photograph made up of the small squares, and make it a vector-based thing. We're going to sort of separate this thing out, okay? And that's what this trace bitmap does. Now, what it does, and this is sort of step 11, a window should appear, the color threshold is 10 and 8. This is specifying the kind of accuracy of which it's going to trace and or make this thing a vector graphic. These defaults are perfectly fine for what we're going to do. Now what I want you to sort of see is sort of what happens to, first of all, the blue bounding box, and then second of all, as I zoom in, how it changes fundamentally how this thing looks. So I'm going to hit OK. First and foremost, you should see the change. We don't have that blue bounding box, and I'm going to zoom in really far, and you should see these little dots. What these dots represent is that this is now a vector graphic. You'll see that it's basically traced or made a version of this thing that is a vector graphic now instead of a raster-based graphic, which is a good thing because we can sort of deal with the individual parts of this drawing now. So it says click on the white background of the image area. Now what I mean by this is not the white background. You probably hear me clicking. I'm talking about the fact that there's a white background that made up the sort of white pixels in that JPEG. We want to sort of separate out, as I've said several times, the bird portion of this image. Okay, so I want to get rid of that white background. So I'm going to click anywhere on that white. Okay, and it says hit delete on the keyboard. Okay. Now you'll note that when I click around here, I don't have anything to select or deal with. I'm going to zoom in so you can sort of see what I mean about selecting these pixels, or in this case, these drawn vector graphics. When I click on that, I can sort of select these different parts. This is a standalone sort of object now, and it's going to be easier to sort of deal with in relation to this movie clip. Okay, so that's tracing that. That's turning something raster-based or pixel-based into something that we can sort of deal with in Flash and in a vector-based program. Now, as I said, we're working with several different types of symbol, and you'll see on here, step 14, it says choose insert new symbol, name it bird movie clip, and make sure the movie clip, it's a movie clip. Okay, so we used this graphic to sort of get the parts, and now we're going to make the movie clip. Okay, so I'm going to insert movie clip, and I'm going to call this bird movie clip. Okay, and to be super accurate, I want to make sure that that is a movie clip. Okay, I'm going to hit OK, and you'll see that we now go to sort of the bird movie clip, which is kind of a blank area. Okay, to review, we had the bird JPEG. Okay, that bird JPEG was simply as this says, sort of a photo there. Sorry, the photo.jpg. Okay, and we made the bird graphic, which looks very similar, but now we can sort of separate these things out. The next thing we're going to do is make the bird movie clip. Okay, so it says go to the symbol. Step 16. Go to the symbol bird graphic, and using the selection tool, separate the three birds from each other. Okay, all I'm doing here is making these sort of a little more manageable. So I'm going to click and draw around that, and I'm just going to kind of move this guy. I'm going to click, draw, move this guy. Okay, you'll see how those are separate now. That is not something we could have done if this thing were still a JPEG. Okay. Now it says select the bird furthest to the left and choose edit copy. Okay, so I'm going to select that, all this with the selection arrow. I'm going to select it by drawing around it. That means I've selected all those vector lines, and I'm going to choose edit copy. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is go to the symbol bird movie clip, and it says edit, choose edit paste in center. Okay. And we're basically just pasting this down. Now, before we sort of head into more directions, I want to explain. We have a movie clip, and the movie clip has its separate timeline up here. That timeline is different from the main movie timeline. This is a timeline that's sort of inside the library. Okay, this will make sense once we animate the bird. Edit paste in center. Step 20 says position with the selection tool the bird so its beak is right on the center mark. What I'm talking about here is just sort of making it so that that beak is kind of right there. I'll have it sort of eating the little hash mark. The idea here is that we keep the bird kind of in the same spot so that when we animate it, it will be fluid. This is very important to making this movie clip fluid, and you'll see why here in a second. It says go to frame 3 in the timeline and insert a keyframe. Okay, so we're just going to go up here. That. Insert a keyframe. Okay, so I have this bird kind of happening over 3 frames. Okay, it says go to frame 4 and insert a blank keyframe. What I'm doing is sort of setting up so that I can paste down the next version of this thing. So we have the bird up, we'll call it bird up for 3 frames. Okay, it says go to the bird graphic and select the middle bird. That looks like we lost a little part of the wing there. I'm going to choose edit copy. It says step 24, go to the symbol bird movie clip. Okay, I see where we're going with this, and we're going to paste that down. It says position step 25, make sure you're on frame 4, paste in center, and then step 26, position with the selection tool so the bird's beak is on the center. Okay. Okay, so I can sort of move back and sort of see, do I have this guy in a sort of relatively similar position. Okay, so it says go to frame 6, insert a keyframe. We're sort of repeating what we've done up to this point. Go to frame 7 and insert a blank keyframe, setting up for the last portion or the last part of this. Go to the bird graphic in the library and select the bird all the way to the right and copy it. So you can hopefully see this sort of system here. I'm going to edit copy that. Go back to the movie clip. Make sure I'm in that frame. And we're going to paste. And just as before, we're going to position. Okay. We need to go to step 33 here. Go to frame 9, insert a keyframe. And now we have sort of the complete motion from up to down. Okay. So you'll see as I move this across, we're basically seeing, you guys did frame by frame animation last week. We kind of have a version of that thing going on here. Okay. Now, the sort of tricky part comes in thinking about the complete, I guess, flight motion of a bird. Okay. We are up, we are middle, we are down. Okay. If we think about how a bird flies, it's basically going to bring those wings back up again. So we need to basically copy the frames from this middle portion and put them towards the end of this flight pattern. Okay, so I'm going to go to step 34. It says go to frame 10, insert a blank keyframe. Sorry. Insert a blank keyframe. It says go to frame 4 and copy the bird in that frame. Okay, so I might as well use this as an efficiency thing. Let's just use what we have to sort of get the job done. So it says go back to frame 10 and paste. Sorry. We're going to choose paste in place on this. And paste in place means that you are pasting down exactly sort of where it came from. Okay. So I'm then going to go to frame 12 and insert just a frame. This is just extending that out. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3 frames there. Okay. Now, just to sort of our jumping jack, you got to remember where this thing is going. Okay, meaning at the end, it's going to go back to the beginning frame. Okay, so we don't need to sort of put the up portion of the bird flying because we have 3 frames of that going on here. Okay, so that is basically steps 1 through 37. Okay, what I'm going to do here in the next video is sort of showing you how to work with this. The idea is that we've now made this thing. Let's find a few different ways of which we can work with it. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video and start up here with the last portion of the exercise.